Me, I fainted. I didn't believe it was Ash. Trying to call them, they said if anybody tries to open that suitcase, either you or one of your children, they'll be mad. An evil bird will be on his shoulder. When it leaves, 3 hyenas will come. When they leave, now the skeleton will come now to give him what he's supposed to get.
Welcome to Kings TV once again. This is your host, Dr. Elijah Kofi. You can call me Fire One, you can call me Fire Prophet, the unshakable and the unbreakable. This blessed day, we are here with the pastor's wife. We interviewed the pastor yesterday about the experience he went through as he left church, started his own ministry, and the ministry had to collapse, and he left the ministry as well and embarked on a journey of looking for spiritual money. And he was apparently told to come and sacrifice either his wife or one of his children in order for the money to stay and for the money to be eatable. And he traveled to so many other countries. He went as far as Malawi, went as far as Mozambique in search of this spiritual money or ritual money. But unfortunately, he couldn't get what he was looking for. It was actually fortunate for him. He couldn't get what he was looking for, and he had an encounter with the Most High God where an angel appeared to him and told him, you don't belong here. You have to take your wife and return back to your home country, Zambia. And that is how the witch doctor also came with confirmation to say, I cannot help you. It is only Jehovah God that can help you. And by the grace of God, he has returned back to ministry, and he has returned back to church, and he has returned back to doing the work of God. Today we have the wife of the man of God here, and we want to continue the interview from here. Woman of God, you are welcome.
Thank you very much.
I hope you are fine.
Yes.
Have you eaten today?
Yes, right.
Wonderful, wonderful. I want you to feel very relaxed and feel comfortable, and also share your experience and the testimony of what you and your husband has gone through. Okay. Your testimony is very powerful, and your testimony is very heartwarming and challenging. And I believe that those who will listen to your testimony together with your husband's testimony, they will be challenged to focus in serving God, no matter the challenge that may come their way. And I also want to say that you are very blessed.
Amen.
And you are very privileged.
Amen.
The fact that the Most High God had to come and reveal himself to both you and your husband, and the fact that the witch doctor had to come out in the open and say, there is no witch doctor that can help you except God. It's a sign that the hand of the Most High God is strongly upon your marriage. Amen. And strongly upon your lives as ministers of the gospel. Amen. So feel comfortable, and then also add your testimony to the powerful testimony we heard from your beloved husband. Amen.
Amen.
So from your perspective, what do you feel led to both of you embarking on this journey of looking for spiritual money? Because you were both sons and daughters in Fire Nation Arena, and you personally was leading praise and worship, leading us into the presence of God. In your presence, your husband was also leading open prayer, and was being mentored to become a pastor. Yes. And then a prophecy came that there was going to come a time in the future where I was seeing your husband getting himself involved in ritual money. And so many years after the prophecy, after you left the church, you find yourself on this journey of looking for spiritual money. And you were also there when the prophecy came. So what led to the both of you coming together and agreeing to say, we are tired of this life. We are tired of rising and falling. And the only choice we have now is to start this journey of looking for money? What led to it?
I think lack of knowledge, really. We lacked proper knowledge and guidance. Yeah, because if I say we pastors of today and we so-called upcoming pastors, we feel we are there, especially when we talk about if we know how to speak in tongues, we can see one or two visions and we feel we are there, we can do it, we can make it, not knowing that we are headed for doom because the coverage is very important. But in us looking at how we left Fire Nation into our own, it was not yet ripe actually for us to start what we had started. Obviously, it wasn't the right time, or it might be, but there was never coverage.
There was no covering.
No.
Because as you left, you cut all links and no communication.
Yes.
We didn't know your whereabouts. We didn't know the name of your ministry. We didn't know where you were meeting. There was no connection at all.
Childishness, sir, I can say, was one of the major things that I think, made us walk such a road. Because if we're to say we were okay in everything, or we had what was backing us, I don't really think we were going to be able to undergo such a trial. Yeah.
Okay, so back to my question again. What led to the both of you embarking on this journey? Because I understand from the interview we had with your husband that you were there. Even going to Malawi, you were there. Even going to Mozambique, you were there. Even going to the club. As pastor and pastor's wife, you were there with him all the way. You never left him. You were there with him all the way. So for the both of you to agree that we are going to Malawi and we have seen this man, we are going to Mozambique, we have seen this man, and this is it. We are at the verge of selling our soul for money. What led for the journey to even start in the first place?
It wasn't easy to say, even to make up a decision of using the road and going through all those things. It wasn't easy. After we left church, one thing I remember, which was supposed to be my very big testimony and bringing back to church, and because of how we left and we never said bye and you never communicated, was I gave in I was working by then.
I remember you were working. I remember.
So my first salary, I gave it as a thanksgiving.
I remember.
As the Bible says, I gave it as a thanksgiving. So after doing that, immediately I was fired from work. So when I was fired, even issues were coming up, here and there. So I thought to myself, but how can I give up my first salary and I'm fired? For what reason? Meaning, this is not it. I've given it to a wrong ground. Yeah, but after being fired, I only stayed home for a month or two. My boss called me back. And my calling back was the retaining back at work was for the uplifting. Something that you had mentioned before. You had given us a prophecy of saying, you are going to be established. God wants to establish your wife so that you can do the work of God properly. And so he called me back and I went back to work, and we were there. I got back my position, like a very big position, and I was assigned.
In fact, you were promoted.
Yes.
When you were called back, you were promoted.
Yes. So I went. Now this is how we relocated to Katete. We stayed there as wealthy people, like as kings. We're good to go. Everything was very fine.
The money was good.
Yes, everything was fine, and he also started doing his ministry there. Things were very, very okay. But because in the Bible, Jesus talked about the 5 people who healed leprosy.
There were actually 10.
Yes.
Only one returned.
Only one returned.
Good.
I was supposed to come back.
Very much.
Yes, and I was supposed to come back to cement my own blessing as it came, because that maybe was just a trial of losing my job, maybe paying my whole salary as a Thanksgiving and losing my job was just a trial and a test to go into a bigger blessing. Because this was being talked to. You spoke about it and you really encouraged us more during that time, but I never came back. So it never lasted for a while, only a year or two, and everything went down. So things began gradually going down. But before them going down, this is where church came in, and it boomed as well because we were praying. So during that time, because we felt we are there, we cannot do without our man of, our daddy. We can do all things alone.
You can do without him.
Yes, and we are mentored by television, so we felt we can do it.
If you say you are mentored by television, you mean you listen and watch pastors who preach on TV. And
yeah,
you take them as your mentors.
Issues like that, things happen.
And you take them as your mentors.
Exactly.
When they are men of God on the ground.
Nigerian men of God, actually.
Let's even leave that one. When they are men of God on the ground in Zambia who love you and care for you and lay hands on you, pour oil on you and speak into your life in person. Whereas these men of God you watch on TV, you don't even have their phone number. You can't even reach them and speak to them. And even if you can speak to them, you have to spend a lot of money to travel to wherever they may be. But the good part about this powerful testimony you have just shared is that even when you had given your first fruits and you lost your job after 1 month, I still came back and prophesied to your husband that God said he was going to elevate your wife and establish your wife financially so you can focus on the work of God and not be running after money here and there. And it took just 1 month. The same company that fired you, the same company called you back, promoted you, and made you a branch manager in Katete, in Eastern Province. Wow. Wow. But unfortunately, as you went, you never look back.
I never looked back. He even left things for me. He left goods. We did a franchise for about 100 and something.
Wow.
Yeah. But they all went down to
everything
the
went. I remember everything now. I had forgotten. But now that you have mentioned it, I remember everything now when the blessing came and you got the job back and you had to mention it to me and everything. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So church continued in Eastern Province.
So as you moved to Eastern Province, your husband followed you and you were managing the company, the business, and your husband also started a ministry. And even your husband, as he left, him who was a son, direct son, I was mentoring, even him also cut communication. Oh my God and my Father. Gratitude in life is very important. Gratitude in life is very important, and it is very powerful. The statement you have just made, like the 10 leprous men that Jesus healed, all the 9 went away, only one remembered to be grateful and to come back to Jesus with a testimony. So you believe that kind of step you too contributed?
Yes, it did.
In everything going down in your lives.
It did. Like you mentioned, we mentioned yesterday to say any other person, any person you see has moved around, and when they come, they all have experiences from where they've gone to. We also have moved around and about. I'm not saying anybody or any pastor is bad, but there's where God has put you to get your destiny from there and to be uplifted. So we've been there, we've moved around, and we've seen it all. But this is where we have seen. You need to go back to where you're coming from, and you can't just be going. So we saw where we made a mistake and where things all went wrong where. Yes. So.
But you know what, a woman of God, I'm very grateful to God because in my ministry, I have seen a lot of betrayal. And I've seen people becoming very bad, as in when they leave church, they speak evil and they paint you black. So others will see them as good, as not bad, because it is ungrateful for somebody to be a blessing to you and then you walk away in such a way. So in order for them not to be seen in that light, they try to fabricate stories to make the man of God look bad. But with all the stories that have been said, I thank God that no one can confidently put their hands on their chest and say that man of God is evil because that man of God tried to sleep with my wife, or that man of God tried to rape me or something like that. That being said, whilst you and your husband were with us in church, you were in the choir, you were leading praise and worship.
Yes.
Your husband was an armor bearer. Sometimes we lead open prayer and all that. And we're working together. How will you say the relationship from my side, from my wife to you and your family? How was it like?
It was more than a father-son relationship. You took us in. The relationship was something one cannot mention. It was a close relationship. Yeah, you took us in. You fed us. You shedded our tears. You were there when we needed you the most. When you're in the ground, you were there. To stand with us, despite anything else. We had no right whatsoever to uncover or to cut off a piece of our father's sari and say, I was in your hands and this is what. No, no, no. There, God was not happy with us.
Okay.
Yeah, the relationship was so good and so touching.
Okay. Okay.
You were helpful.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. We bless Jehovah God. We bless Jehovah God. Woman of God, when your husband connected with me and we started communicating, I didn't want to open up to him, nor to you, because I had gotten to a point where I feel I'm very tired of the betrayal from sons and daughters. So I didn't want to open up to him, but the Holy Spirit touched my heart to say, you are a father, embrace them. And God willing, I embraced him, and I had to give him my number, and he phoned me and he called me. So when we spoke on the phone for the first time, he had mentioned to say, we have suffered. We have suffered to the point where I had to even go to the cemetery and sleep in the cemetery, looking for money and looking for spiritual, whatever he was looking for. How did you feel when your husband came back to tell you to say, I've been given direction to go and sleep in the cemetery? Or when he came back from that journey and he told you, how did you take it as a wife and as a pastor's wife?
To be honest, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. But we said to ourselves, I think God has been silent and he has abandoned us. So there's nothing more we can do. But it wasn't easy. Even though the consciousness was there to say we have sinned, what we are doing next, we don't know. Because when you go to these so-called witch doctors, they mention to you to say, even pastors, they mention well-known pastors. Some of them we've seen one, but we can't mention. We've seen, being there, or rather their photos, in the witch doctor's house, and meaning they are there to get spiritual help. So at some point in time, if you look like that, you say, but a lot of people go there, so why not me? So this encounter of him sleeping in the graveyard was something shocking and somehow agitating, but we had to accept because we were in that situation at that point in time. There's nothing else we could do. There was nothing else. There was nowhere else we could run to. But that was the solution at that point. Yeah. So it wasn't easy.
Why didn't you follow him to the cemetery to go and sleep there? You are scared?
Yes. They always mention, every time we go, you always tell me to say, make sure you stop saying in the name of Jesus. You should stop saying those things.
When you go where?
When you go into the spiritualist homes, because every time they'll just keep on telling me I have a strong spirit, a stubborn spirit. So whenever they want to do their own things, and then they'll be like, but the problem is that she's got a stubborn spirit. Tell her to stop meditating what she's meditating. Because even if I'm given something, in the first place, we didn't want to get anything that would want to use or anything. would refuse and tell them, why don't you use then everything, use on our behalf, so that, us, we don't touch them, because we knew that these things, honestly, the dead cannot do anything to people who are living. But when Satan wants to blind your mind up, we're so blinded enough to say, would go and talk to dead people, dead spirits, things that are dead that cannot talk, and we believe that those things are the ones that can give us money. So it wasn't easy.
Okay. In the interview yesterday, your husband had mentioned that you traveled to Malawi, and when you got there, you realized that you were with a witch doctor, and this witch doctor had suggested that it is either you as a wife or your husband, one of you will be sacrificed, or the two of you will make a decision and sacrifice your children, 2 children, one from your side, one from your husband's side also. Then the money can come. How did you feel when you received such news? To sacrifice your children or sacrifice your husband?
We cried. I'm a crybaby. Though I'm a woman of God, but I'm a crybaby. I was scared. They were in a foreign land. We don't know their culture properly. We don't know what we can do. But we were very scared. Even in the midst of the darkest point of view, we would want to say, please, God, help us and have mercy upon us. Surely God would save us. I was really scared. We didn't know what to do, because we're making all these monies, so-called monies, wanting to make money for our children. But when one says, come to say, we should give either of our kids,
the same children you are suffering
the same kids that we are suffering for, it wasn't easy for us. Then a point came where he said, instead of the kids or us giving in the kids, can I be the one to die and let everything? So
you refused?
No, I said no, I can't remain alone. She said, you find the means of talking to my parents. Don't just tell them anything, but just say something happened and I'll remain here. You go home and you enjoy everything. But so that wasn't easy. We cried. We took us time until they said, it's like you have not made up your mind, you cannot do it, so better you go and look for monies, you come and do the blasting. And so that's how we rebelated from there, because we're not going to be allowed to leave Malawi without doing anything. So they made us to swear to their gods to say, we are coming back. If we don't come back in 1 week, please kill us. So we swear to their gods, but here we are. It's been
so
years
you were
now.
Actually kidnapped. That they wouldn't allow you to leave.
They wouldn't.
Unless you had to sacrifice. And if you don't sacrifice, you have to swear before their gods that if you don't come back in 1 week, what must happen?
We should die.
Wow.
We should die. They should locate us wherever we are. We should die if we don't go in 1 week.
And how was it when you came back after 1 week? Were you expecting?
We were scared somehow.
You were scared.
We were scared because they started saying, you don't forget about the covenant you made with our gods. You said you're going to come back. They have your names and everything. So I said,
but is it by force?
I don't know.
Is it by force that you have to sacrifice your children by force?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
And that is in Malawi?
That is in Malawi. So we left Malawi and they said we regretted. We couldn't have let you to go. We would have just probably done something so that you can, one of you can remain and everything. Yeah, because normally when they do a sacrifice, I don't eat the monies alone. If there are 3 people there who will be around to watch or to take part in that sacrifice, we are going to share in that blood sacrifice. Meaning, if they're talking about 11 years sacrifice, meaning in that 11 years, it will be shortened to either 5 years or so. Me, I'm waiting for 11 years to go. 5 years, they come and say, we need another sacrifice. So what am I going to put in because they've shared the years and, they are also partaking of what you are giving.
Okay.
End of the day, they will ask for your life.
At the end of the day, they will ask for your life.
Yes, they'll definitely.
So the money you have even gone to look for, you will not live to eat the money.
No.
It will be wasted.
Yes.
And that is why we see so many abandoned project buildings all around us, because The person who is supposed to live in that building and complete the building is not even alive.
Yes.
And the relatives also cannot go and because the money actually belonged to a spirit. The building actually belonged to a spirit.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so from there, what happened that led you to Mozambique? And when you reached Mozambique also, what did you go through?
Okay. From there, we found the 1,000. We called them and said, we found some money, so can we come back?
You called the people in Malawi?
Yes. After we left Malawi, some days after we found some money, then we called them up and they shouted at us and said, can a 1,000 make somebody make money out of 1,000, which cannot happen? Go back and find more money. So because they had said that, we decided to come back to Lusaka. So
and how much money were they asking for?
They were asking for 6,800.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had to come back. So as we were on our way back to Katete to get our stuff and go back to Lusaka, this is when we met a man in the car vehicle bragging about how much he's helped men, businessmen, doctors and everything to get where they are and all that. So upon arriving Katete, we approached him. I personally approached him and I spoke with him and said, we have suffered. We really have suffered. So we really need help. So he said, how much do you have? Said, we have 1,000. He laughed at us and said, yeah, you are very poor. I can see that you are poor. I said, yes, we really need help. I was even crying because, that day we were in a situation, a very, very big situation that, have mercy on us. Lord have mercy. So he said somebody's coming from Lusaka, so he's going to help us. So that person came, was in the bus. They said, how much is it to multiply 1,000? So he said, no, to multiply 1,000 is going to be 105 million, somewhere there. I said, this is good, man. At least you can start from there. Not knowing that we are incurring more debts upon us. Yeah, so that's how that guy came. He made us sleep in a small, dirty rat guest house along the side road, the graveyard, somewhere there. Yeah, Cabruthel, something like that. So we slept in there with two others. Yeah, me, my husband, and the two others who wanted to get the same thing as well. So when he started, he got a bucket, a white bucket, and got whatever because we were scared every time we would ask him, you're not a witch doctor? He said, no. Okay, but okay, they are all the same. They are all in one call. They are doing one and the same thing. These are magicians. So he shows us a certificate and everything. So he started doing his stuff. He didn't finish in that night. He did it the following day where he bent the monies in our face. Yeah, so they use it, they say it's a concordance. Yeah, so they make you step on it and then they get the monies, your monies, you use it probably in your armpit, you put your sweat on it, then you put it on the same concordance, then they step on it, you step on it yourself and everything. So they bent that money.
How did he bend the money?
He just showed us it was bent. He put it in between the same concordance of his, and he closed it. And when he opened it, it was just ashes. So now, wow, this is so implicating. They can arrest me for this. So yeah, so he put it in the bucket and began to blast the monies.
It's your experience you had gone through. They can't arrest you.
Yeah. So they put it in the bucket, and after some hours, he remains alone naked in the room, and after some hours, monies are there in the bucket. So we actually saw those monies, there were a lot. So now before using the money, he comes and says, this money has dust, it has smoke actually, so we need to cleanse it. So what you need is about 14,000 to cleanse this money. But where were we going to get the 14,000 from when you said we have 1,000? So we didn't know where to get that money from. She said, but you can't get this money. And the 1,000 is gone already.
It's gone already.
So
it's ashes.
Yes, it's in here. So we need to use this to cleanse it. So we started using our brains on how to get the monies. Yeah, so we managed to gather monies from our friends that we'd kept for some reasons. There are people you keep and they just believe in what you do. Yeah, but these are aside from the church.
Okay.
Yeah, so we spoke with them and busy asking them, we'll give you back tomorrow. Please lend us a 3,000, lend us a 1,000, lend us whatever you can. So we managed to raise it 4,500, 3,500 or 4,500 somewhere there. So we gave him, he bent it again. And now he said, no, we need some soul from the graveyard, a baby's grave, so that we can use and then to appease the gods and everything. So they went to get themselves. In our language, they say ntayo, issues like that.
They say what?
Ntayo.
Ntayo.
So they went and got that and, gave us, and he told us to be going around the graves, and be throwing and be talking to them, allow us to go with this money in Osaka, allow us. We
All
are
this
sorry.
was happening in Malawi?
In Katete.
In Katete?
Yeah.
Okay.
From our way back to Malawi. We want to go to Lusaka, we meet somebody.
Okay.
Yes.
In Katete.
So now
So you were also in the grave sprinkling?
Yes,
sprinkling
just along the
in the graveyard. And you were saying what? You were saying what? Allow us to go with the money. Allow us to go with the money. When people come to church and we say fire prayer,
life.
They get tired.
Life.
You were in the grave sprinkling.
Life circumstances. Circumstances in life. So we sprinkled the monies and said, please,
the ashes.
Grandpapa, we were calling Grandpapa.
What were you sprinkling? Ashes?
Yes.
Ashes, okay.
Ashes, yes. And we said, Grandpapa, in our language, they're saying agogo. Agogo, allow us to
take the money.
Please, we want to get rich. We are tired of passing through problems like that. So after that, that's when he said, okay, it's done. And they got there to my own staff and they began speaking, the
woman of God. Continue.
Yeah. So as they spoke, and then when they do that, they interpret to us, so you should have the money. No, the first car you must buy should not be black but white. No, you leave the suitcase where it is, you deposit the whole monies in Airtel money. After you are done, then you get it back. Then you can start using it. You should do this, you should do that. They said a lot of things. Yeah, so instructions we got, and they said, because I was I was too doubtful a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so they said I can't carry the box for the money, but I'll be given the keys to carry. So they put the keys in the box of matches and something to throw when we reach Luangwa.
They put the key inside a matchbox?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I should carry. I should not be with the one who's carrying the suitcase for the money. And the money also, we're not allowed to go and go with it near the shops and everything, because there are people who, use charm money, so it
they will steal the money.
So we went and isolated ourselves and getting on the vehicle. We got on the vehicle in the evenings. First, he got for us to believe that this is money. He got some monies. We got some monies from there. He got monies and gave us to go and have lunch from there, which was a 200. Then again, he got about transport, because we didn't have transport money. So he got monies for our transport, 200, 250. The bus is 250. 250 from there for us. Yeah, 250 because we're paying 200 then with 50 kwacha food. Yeah, so for us to get on a bus and come. So that's how we believe that this is money. So we started coming, we got on the truck, and we on our way here.
Okay.
Yeah, so he said when you reach Luangwa, people should not know, but you just on the window get the same powder and just, stretch out your hand and throw. We were not taught to say you should throw in the water, but you stretch. So we stretched out our hands. So as we were reaching Luangwa, there was kind of like there was a problem with the police and everything, because we're in a truck. So we're trying to hide from the police. So we did not apparently throw the same medicine on into the water like you said. But immediately after the bridge, We threw that. Yeah, immediately, just immediately before even the water could finish, we threw that. Yeah, so, and then we got some others again that had remained, and we threw because we believed this is a territory. This is spiritually, we believe, as you know, a territory of witches. The territory of witches, you know, it's there. So even if I throw where it's supposed to be thrown on somewhere else, it's
The spirit is still around.
the spirit is still around. So this is how we threw, and
You reach home.
we reached home. As well, when we reaching home in the morning around 04, I called the landlord and said, please come and, because she wanted to, we had arrears for the house. So we told her to say, just put the house on rentals and you come around 10 hours, you come and pick up your money. So I started calling everybody that
you owe money
to come and pick up the monies. Those that knew the way we're coming from and where we were at that point in time, they were going to come. But those that didn't know, we just told them we're going to give you directions where we are found, you come and pick up your money. So we put our own house on rent with everything inside because everything, our clothes, everything was there. Nothing was, you know. So he said, okay, no problem. So as we reached there, we told to bath, and you know, after we finished bathing, then that's when we can open up the box from the keys that we given. So we did whatever we were told to do, but reaching at a point where we need to open the suitcase, we found the key was not there.
How did you feel
Hey,
when the key was not there in the matches? You fainted. Wow.
Me, I fainted. Wow. I didn't believe it was ash.
And how much money was in the bag?
150,000
kwacha.
No, it was in million because it was a suitcase.
Oh, so if you say you put your house on rent together with your clothes, you were getting rid of all your old stuff.
Yes.
Because you were a millionaire already.
Everything that we've worked for, Daddy, all that blessing that we had, everything that we worked for, down to the drain.
Wow.
So now the keys are not there. And we tried calling and they were saying, you made a mistake somewhere. The keys are here.
The keys returned back to the witch doctor.
The keys are here, so you made a mistake somewhere. So what are you going to do? Send the keys
when
back.
You fainted, what did your husband do? I can imagine. I can imagine.
He said, don't die on me, and started crying. It's funny. It's almost like the way we see it in movies. This is not just a story. It was
like a movie indeed.
Yes.
And which country?
In Nigerian movie.
A
Nigerian movie, yes. So don't die on me. And I woke up and looking at what we have gotten from people. What are we going to do? So he said, let me see what I can do. Let me talk to people. So he said he's talking to his God, and he said, on the phone, and we are busy hearing that. He said, no, you need a 4,500. We're going to go and get a 4,500, another money again, so that they can make some porridge and send back the keys to us. It wasn't easy. As we are talking about that, the lady we were owing some monies, I think 2,000, came. And immediately she could not listen to us or get anything from us. Just picked my husband, locked him in the cell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for about 4 to 5 hours.
For 2,000 kwacha?
For about 4 to 5 hours. After eventually they signed up some papers and he was released. So when he came home, you know, he got very angry. Trying to call them, they said, if anybody tries to open that suitcase, either you or one of your children, they'll be mad. So my husband was like, I don't care. Let me get mad. Just got a hammer and began to open the suitcase, the lock. And the case was opened, the lock was opened as well. So to come and open the case, we found pieces of money in pieces, cut in pieces. It was not money one can use.
That you can't even use a solid
No, you can't. You can't. There was so much in pieces that you can't use nothing to bring it all together. So he was very much upset and got a suitcase and burnt it. Oh. And now, here we start again from square one now.
From scratch one again.
So, even where we're staying now, problem comes in. So they said they were too tired and everything. At least they're keeping our kids, so we find a way to stay. So now we didn't have anywhere to stay. We ended up now sleeping in the nightclub. In the morning, we are at a mango tree. We wait until 18 to 19 hours. We go to a nightclub, we sit now, we're just watching people dancing and doing what, and we're just seated. You know, Papa, we reached the next day. I didn't tell him I was going to say this. You know, we we went to some certain people, you know, and you know, we lied and said we are very hungry, we didn't have anything to eat. So we said we are from Mansa, so we are asking, we came here for a funeral. So can you please help us? And they helped us with the 20 kwacha, and we managed to feed and eat something. That was after 2 days of not eating anything. Yeah, so our son got very ill. So he got him. That is my third born, Benjamin. So he got him and I took him to Charleston and he ran away from there. But the sisters were so unaware of the relationship, so said, no, let her come and pick up your child.
Your husband ran away?
Yeah, he ran away from
He left the child at the clinic?
He left the child and he left the child with the sister.
Okay, with the sister?
Yeah, and ran away and we continued because we had nowhere to sleep. We would sleep in dogs' house, yeah. In the night, in the morning again we wake up. Sometimes, you know, we're given food where leftover food.
Leftover food.
Yeah, so that's what we eat and we sleep. In the morning we wake up, we round, we go to the mountain, we stay beside the mountain, just under the mountain, waiting for time again, just like that. So they called back again after 2 weeks and said somebody's coming there, so can you organize yourselves? They're going to come and help. So we told him that we had
They wanted to get more money again.
They did.
They actually managed.
Yeah, so we actually lost about 12,000 something, and all that in just crediting, because at the end of the day, my auntie's staff was the one that was gotten because I had spoken with my auntie to help, so we put her things on collateral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so when the time came, because they asked us to buy a trunk now worth 500 kwacha. So we bought a trunk and they multiplied it again. So when they multiplied, they did the very same things. And they told us to say,
after the money came, you obviously could not use the money.
Go and sleep. No. This time around, you're not going to appease for anything. There's just some water that we need to get. So just find yourself somewhere to sleep. So instead of us going home, they told us, okay, just go somewhere near there, you go and sleep. Then we can't sleep where the money is. So we all sleep here. Then tomorrow, in the morning, early in the morning, we can finish up everything. Then you get your money. So we try to give him a reason of, you know, a percentage of doubt, but at least some trust. So as we woke up around 04 trying to go back there, the gate man just came and told us that they shifted. That very same night we were leaving, they also left with the trunk.
They ran away actually?
They ran away.
They ran away?
Yes. They're in Katete, we see them now, but we can't take them anywhere. Where can we take them to?
Wow.
There's nothing we can do. What are we going to say? Yeah.
Wow.
So this is how we met. We came and sat down, but now problem comes in, a very big problem. So before anything else could happen with those things that we got and the credit that we got to do some more blasting, because we had gone deeper now. You have gone deeper. Yeah, so now there was no turning back for you now until you get what you are looking for. Yes, we find what we are looking for and appease for all these credits that we have, because now we are deep in credits now. Even now? Or then? Then, yeah. So now what should we do? So we met this man now. He called us actually, the one who had gone to Mozambique with issues of stone. Yeah, the blue sky. So he called and said he has the blue sky, we should pick him up. We found some money, somebody else helped us. We would have, the blessing of finding something. But in us having that thing of, can we invest this money into something proper? That mind was never there. The mind was just to go deeper. Yes, and into looking for spiritual money. But how long are we going to get? If we get this money and say we invest it into business, how long are we going to do it? And how long is it going to take? Those people who a hungry of their monies are going to catch up with us, and life is not going to be okay for us. So this is how we found some 500. We went and got the man from there. Coming back here with him, we found that he had fake diamonds and fake whatever that he brought. So he said, I have a man who can help. And I'm also from the mines, so we need to buy gunpowder, we need to do this. So he convinced us. We go to Mozambique, and that's how we embarked on a journey to Mozambique. It was a far, far journey. Very, very, very long.
Very, very far.
A very long journey, and we reached there. It was not easy. We reached at the first step where we needed to exchange the gunpowder with the stones. The man was not there. He had gone to some other places, which took us, I think, some 2-3 weeks to reach there on foot.
Wow.
So we said, we can't go. He said, no, okay, let me help. Since you have a problem, and I've seen your problem, so can we help out? And I take you somewhere else. So that's how he took us to his friend, not knowing that this is, he's well known in Mozambique.
He's what?
Well known.
Okay. This person he took you to is very well known.
Everywhere. Everywhere. So we went there. They accommodated us. We lived in a shelter. He had a lot of things, a lot of cattle, whatever he was wearing at his home. And he received us. And he said, this is the last point you can get help from there. Yeah, so that's what happened.
So tell us, when you go to the Mozambique and you reach this man, that was the last point. What happened step by step?
What really happened was we told him what we had gone through. Yeah, but we were always scared to mention who my husband was.
Okay.
Yeah.
You hid his identity as a pastor.
Yes.
You hid it. You couldn't let them know.
No.
Why?
We couldn't. We were not going to get help from there. And even him, he just said, no,
don't tell them I'm a pastor.
Don't say anything. So we told them what we're going through. So they said they're going to help us. So as we were there, we had to wait for a week so that they present our case to their gods in the night.
Why so long? Why a week?
There are a lot of people.
There were a lot of people.
Yes.
Wow.
So we stage by stage, and when they accept us, they take our names and they accept. They tell him what we should do. So when he took our names, I went with him. So they took his name there. So he was given an instruction of buying a white coke and a village white coke, pure white, and the goat. Yeah. So all that was done. The coke came first. So they said they'll take the coke, and he took a coke and said it has been accepted. So he was given instruction to say the coke has been accepted. The goat will be used only when you need to go back to your ancestors' home. Anybody who has died from your family, you go and get a spirit from there. A spirit which will come and connive with a spirit from here and agree that you can be given wealth. Yeah, so which one? So for me to do it, he said, no, I can't. He would always protect me to say, no, you can't do it. Because I think they have relatives around, though I didn't know their graveyards. I was not there every time they're burying somebody, but at least I can ask around. And so I said, no, I have to go. So I had to go to Ndola.
So he left Mozambique?
He left Mozambique. I remained there. Yeah, he left Mozambique and traveled back to Ndola, to his parents'
When you
home.
remained there, no one tried to take advantage of you? Okay.
Yeah, nobody.
But you
were a lot of people.
Okay.
A lot. We're eating. They would always prepare food.
Were there other people from Zambia who were also there?
Yes. People we know.
People you know?
Yes, people we know. Businessmen we know. Two men of God I know. It's an error for me to mention.
Don't mention their names.
Yes. People we know and people we don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, some from Zambia, some come from the Copper Belt. issues like that.
Okay. These men of God you know from Zambia, please don't mention their
I
name.
can't do that.
Are they men of God from Lusaka or from Katete or from Indola or from where?
No, one is from Dola, one is from here.
Lusaka, one from Indola or from Lusaka.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, continue. So your husband came back to Indola to get something from the family graveyard.
So he was ordered to buy a white cloth to dress when entering the graveyard. So he was given 3 days to do that. So he went there. The first day he went was to go and leave the coin there. Then after a day, the third day in the morning, he should make sure he goes and gets that thing and off back to Mozambique.
Okay.
So the first day when he took the coin, it wasn't easy because all this was supposed to be done midnight, and every time in midnight he would always call me to say, this is now when I'm doing it. And we were scared because I was going to hear my husband has run mad. What will happen? So I knelt down and prayed to God. Wow. Said, God have mercy.
In the shrine.
We have sinned. We have wronged you. But this is how far we've reached.
But all this while, did it ever click in your mind that what you are going through was prophesied? You forgot completely?
For me, I forgot completely.
But you were there when the prophecy came?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was very much there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a shocking thing because even just the way I reacted.
When the prophecy came?
No. When the prophecy came, it was a shocking because we are pastors, we are men of God, and man and woman of God, and we are on fire, of course, and you've anointed us and you help us and everything, and we can speak to people. We have children, we are pastoring, we are, shepherding. So now, how come?
This type of prophecy?
Yes, why?
Is
that you hate us so much that, you come and,
give such prophecy over
and,
you that I was seeing.
Disgrace us in such manner.
And it was in public.
It was in public.
Can you say exactly the words I used in speaking this the prophecy to your husband?
This is how you prophesied. I was there, everybody, in everyone's face.
In the presence of the entire church.
You said, I've seen you, things are going to be so hard. Things are going to be so hard that you are going to even reach an extent of wanting to go into looking in search of richer money. This is what you said. Things are going to be so hard. If care not taken, you go in search of richer money. But by the grace of God, you'll be brought back. This is where you're.
And care was not taken. And you found yourself.
Care was taken. If care was not taken, we're going to begin to sacrifice. I will not be here today, Daddy.
I mean, for you to get to that point to look for that step, it meant you didn't take that care that was supposed to be taken. So you expose yourself to the enemy to make things very, very hard. Very, very, very hard. We thank God that at least you still have your life intact after all the things you have gone through. So your husband returned back to Mozambique with the spirits from the family graveyard.
Yes, he returned back. And when he came back...
So what did he return back with? Exactly, that was representing the spirit.
Soil.
A soil.
Yes, a soil.
A soil from the graveyard. Okay.
From his cousin's graveyard.
Okay.
Yeah, so he gave him with the same white cloth that he was using, he used to wear.
Okay.
So they said they'll present it in the evenings at midnight. So during that time, he was going to be called, and he was told, if you are going to be put in a circle, you are going to see 3 hyenas. If they come, don't run. A bird will come.
Have you seen a hyena before?
No, I've never.
It's a very dangerous animal, wild animal. And in the graveyard, the hyena will appear. Where was a hyena going to appear? In the grave?
I don't know where
because yesterday he had mentioned that it was going to appear in the grave.
Yes.
Wow. At midnight.
At midnight.
And what else?
And the skeleton.
The skeleton will
and
come.
An evil bird will be on his shoulder. When it leaves, 3 hyenas will come. When they leave, now the skeleton will come now to give him what he's supposed to get.
This witch doctor is very wicked, though. If this is what all rich people had to go through,
yes,
then there will never be any rich man on this earth. Very, very wicked. How will you survive as a young man?
You can't.
Midnight in the graveyard. Skeleton, evil bed, 3 hyenas.
Yes.
Alone.
Alone. Because I think he mentioned to you that was the second time him in the grave, because at some point in time they made him stand on top of a bowl.
A ball.
A bowl. A plate. A bowl.
Plate.
A basin, a small basin.
Okay.
Yeah. For the one for cereals, eh?
Okay.
He used to eat cereals.
Yes. They made him stand on it in the grave, on top of the grave.
On top of the boy in the grave, in the middle of the grave.
Wow.
Naked.
Naked. Doing what?
I don't know, waiting for for monies to come.
And the money came. The prophecy was so on point, eh? The prophecy was so on point, but unfortunately, the writing was not done, so the prophecy had to come to pass. But at the end of the day, I give glory to God, because you see, when God reveals, right, it means God is now interested in delivering you, no matter the matter. When God gives a revelation and it's a bad revelation, the fact that the man of God had to pray and cancel the evil God has spoken through him, there is one way or the other that grace will follow you and bring you out. One way or the other, grace will follow you and bring you out. And I believe this is what happened. And we are waiting for that last part.
The last part was after the midnight, nothing happened.
The witch doctor never came to call him.
Never came to call him. But according to his narration, in the night he had a lot of things going on.
Whose narration?
My husband's
Your
narration.
husband's
Because
narration.
I was sleeping. I slept like a baby that night.
Okay.
Not knowing that there was really a strong wind that was going around. And the cattle, the goats, the chickens cried a lot that night. So in the morning he came out, instead of coming out 6 hours, he came out 8 to 9.
You mean your
the
husband,
witch,
the
the witch doctor. So when he woke us up around 6 hours waiting for him, and they said, I was busy asking him, did you go? And he said, no, you didn't come to go. What happened? We're supposed to go because it's your time. He said, no, I was not called. I said, okay, let's wait. So those who went, who were called, they went, they carried their own things, the stuff. They went.
They carried their own things and stuff.
Yes, they were given the stuff.
They were given the money.
No, they were given the last ritual to go and do whatever they needed to do. Yeah. So he said, no, I was not called. So I said, but what happened? So because, we are tired now. This is our last bus stop. So in my own point of view, I said, if this doesn't happen, I'm going to kill myself now. Because I think I've no use of living.
Wow.
I'm tired. So now he came and started narrating. After we called him, so he didn't come there. And then after some time, he called us and he sat us down and said, I didn't know it was you. I didn't know the person I allowed to stay here. But I will not lie to you. I'll be very honest with you. I cannot help you. No witch doctor can help you. Only God can help you. So here, I'll ask you to leave this place. We have not refused, but I've been beaten so hard, so much tonight that if you can see, if I can show you, you would not believe. So I can't really help you.
Did he say who beat him?
He told us, I think it was their things. Yeah, his subjects, his gods. Yeah. So he said he was beaten hardly, and to saying why he had allowed him to go there. So
why he had allowed your
him,
husband.
he would have, dispatched us just there and then.
If he knew who he was.
So he said, no, I can't help you. So, when he said he can't help, I started saying, okay, what does he want? Let him say what he wants. I said, there's nothing I want. I've told you. Only God can help you.
Even if you give me all the money in the world, I can't help you.
I can't help you. There's nothing. You just go. Me, started telling him, "Oh, you have wasted my time, you have wasted this." I blasted into tears. I cried on his knees, trying to make, maybe, I don't know. I cried like I don't know, like a baby son. And he said, "There's nothing I can do." So as I was crying, my husband just approached me and said, "We have wronged God, let's go." So like I said, "Let's go, we have wronged God." I said, "But what are you saying we have wronged God after reaching this level? What do you mean?" He said, "Let's go." Me, I was crying. He said, "Hey, let's go. I want to tell you something. This is a prophecy that Papa, Professor, which Papa? What are you talking about?" Said, "You just let's go, let's go." So we looked for a bike. As we got on a bike, we reached.
So he reminded you the prophecy.
He didn't. He just said, "This is a prophecy from Papa." So I said,
whilst you were in the shrine.
Whilst we were in the shrine. So we got on the bike. We reached at some point somewhere where this guy needed to put fuel. So as he was looking for whatever I needed to look for, then he said, "We have wronged God. Do you remember when we were at Woodlands? Papa had prophesied to say things would be so hard that we're going to go in search of richer man. Do you remember? This is the prophecy of Prophet Elijah came."
Then you remembered
Then I remember
that I had prophesied this.
So we both now started crying of how far we have gone. This is how we remembered you, and we thought it was so vital that we look for you.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so important that we look for you and come back, because now God reminded us and how far we had gone.
Wow.
We could not see you, we could not know what to do, because this is too far. And we are looking at a genuine man of God now, because in as much as we've met men of God, we have seen what you have spoken in our lives coming true. So there we saw how far we've wronged God at large. And this is how we ended up leaving everything and coming back and kneeling back to God and started looking for Him.
I really thank God that I listened and obeyed the voice of God when God said, "I shall embrace your husband." When your husband started sending me messages on Facebook, and I was ignoring it. He was asking for my number. I said, no. The way and the manner you left me, as though I had wronged you in a way. So why bother myself again? But I thank God that I listened to God to say, "You are a father, embrace them, give him your number." And I was so shocked when he got my number and he called me and he started narrating what he had been through and the prophecy I had given him. Personally, I had even forgotten. Because, my prophecy, I don't spend 1 hour on one person. I just come and I tell you what God said I should tell you and I move on. So it is not something you can remember after 5 years, But I thank God that God had seen you through at the verge. At that last point, God had to intervene so you don't sell your soul to the enemy. Because I believe the more reason why God intervened was because of that word and that prayer. It was still hanging around you to say, you belong to God. And obviously God knows what we don't know. He knows our future. He knows our tomorrow.
Yes.
So in 2013 and 2014, he knew that there was going to come a time you were going to take this step. Yes. And he needed his servant to lay hands and pray. So when that time comes, that prayer will become a point of contact for the Spirit of God to intervene. So we are grateful to God, and we thank God that your soul and your life is still intact as we are speaking today, the last day of the 31st of October 2020. The 31st of October 2020. We bless Jehovah. As we are rounding up, I want you to look into the camera and advise pastors' wives and pastors who, number one, have no covering and are in a hurry to do the work of God, and in the process are exposing themselves to wolves and demons. And number two, I also want you to address pastors' wives. Pastors' wives who are standing with their husbands, even when they know that their husbands are on the wrong path in life.
We need to pay attention to God. We need to pay attention to whom we are submitting to. It is very much important to have coverage. It is very much important to learn to listen to your spiritual father, no matter how old, young, little he might look. The fact of the matter is that as long as God has given him to you as your father, as your spiritual father, and there's higher grace, listen, God's time is the best. We cannot go beyond what is God's time. When the time of God comes that you should do this, and that is the time of God, and your father releases you, then you can go ahead. It's very important to live, even as members of the church, to live places where you are congregating with a blessing. You don't go out without a blessing, because whatever you do tomorrow, it will come back to you. It's like karma. Karma comes, it goes and it comes back, it will hit you back. So how are you going to go whilst you've left things and attended to who you go, and how do you expect to come back? You come back like a fool. It's not every man of God who is going to take up the rubbish that you left and say, okay, you are my child, let me take you up from there. Some will just say, I can't do it with you, I've had enough of the shame. So some, they don't survive it. Like what we've been through, it is God, and it is by the grace of God. Some don't survive it. Some, they just go through it and they die in the process. Look at us today. It is just by the grace of God. We thank God because he had prayed. When he removed that prophecy, he prayed. Prophecy that does not just come out of a man of God's mouth without it being prayed on, without it receiving a prayer and a coverage out of it. So he prayed for us. And today we are here speaking like this. We are here testifying to the glory of God. I've been through it. If you are going through it, if you're about to, if it is your husband, kneel down and pray. If your husband has gone out, or whosoever he's submitting under, in a bad manner, please go back and get a blessing. Because in that manner, you'll be able to stand as a man of God. You'll be able to stand as a woman of God before the throne of God and do what is right. Encourage your husband. Don't just follow your husband because he's a pastor, following him blindly like that. No. Let's pray for one another. Let's learn to submit, and let's learn to give authority to whom authority belongs. So that is my encouragement. As for you, man of God, we are humbled because you've been there. You know, we might have gone, many years have passed that we've met, and this is when we are meeting after a long time. We are really humbled for everything you have done and for receiving us, for having us here. It's not because we wanted to come here on our own accord, but you know, we're compelled to as well, and you were compelled to do so by the Spirit of God. We say thank you, and we always be grateful for what you have done, and always extend our apology for the way we left, and that we are back here again to see what way forward can we do in terms of ministry, how far we can go in terms of ministry. Yes, thank you.
Amen, 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 amen. We bless Jehovah God. If you are out there, you are in ministry, you are a business person, you are a student, and you are thinking of looking for ritual money, this is not an accident that you had to sit, burn your data to watch this interview. We may not have shown the face of the woman of God and the man of God in the part one for personal reasons, but you have heard for yourself. By the grace of God, they were prophesied to, and they had to come out and survive it. As you are thinking about it to also go on the same journey, you may not come back. You may die in the process. Or you may go in so deep that even your soul will be rejected by God at the end of the day. So do your possible best and sacrifice in the presence of God. If it is fasting, fast and pray. If it is prayer, pray. Bend the midnight oil and pray. Stand on your feet and pray. If it is humility, humble yourself and submit. Humble yourself and submit. Direction is better than speed. They wanted to be independent. They wanted to stand on their own. Me becoming their father and giving them instruction was too much for them to handle. And as the blessings came, they left without even saying bye. They cut communication. And this is where we are today. They had to endure and go through all this foolishness in the name of looking for money. So if you are thinking of also taking the same step, rather swallow your pride and go back to your spiritual parents. Humble yourself, receive direction, receive prayer, and God will come through for you. It may not come in bulk the way you are expecting it, but definitely at the end of the day, it will come true for you and you have a lot of peace at the end of the day. God bless you for watching. My name is Elijah Kofi King, the Fire Prophet. We'll see you again next time in our next telecast. God richly bless you in Jesus' name.